Hi everyone, my name is Miss Dead Bird Lady, and today we're going to be seeing where each Darkest Dungeon 2 hero fits on the retail alignment chart. This was actually an idea I received in the comments of my last video, and it sounded really interesting, so I thought I'd do it while also adding another layer. So, yeah, let's get into it. At the top we have security, or people who are responsible for keeping the shop safe. I see them as mall cops in a way, so like they maybe have a taser, they definitely don't have a gun, but they're like very serious about their job. But on the very opposite side of that, we have cashiers who don't care. So they are just there to clock in, clock out, get their money, and leave. They don't necessarily care if someone's stealing or not, as long as they get paid at the end of the day. On the x-axis, we have shoplifters, and I think this is pretty self-explanatory, just people who are okay with utilizing that 5-finger discount every single time they step into a shop. And on the opposite side of that, we have the intervening bystander. The intervening bystander is someone who is going to make it their job to step in if someone is stealing. Even if they're not on the clock, even if they're not working there, they will take the time to step aside and either call this person out or like try to understand what's going on. Alright, so now that we've defined our boundaries, let's start with Crusader. I think Crusader would definitely be more of the security side because he is getting paid to do a job and he would care to some extent. But I feel like he also wouldn't mind shoplifting at some point. Like, if it's to help feed his family, like his wife and his child, he would definitely like take something out. So I think I'll put him here. Next we have Duelist, and Duelist doesn't strike me as like a shoplifter or someone who would intervene as a bystander, if that makes sense. Like, if she wasn't getting paid for it, if it wasn't her job, I don't think she'd care. But because it is her job, she's probably up here with security. I could definitely see her like taking someone to the back and whacking them with her duelist weapon. Yeah. I think I'd put her up here. I don't think she's going to be either shoplifting or intervening. She's just going to be security, and she will be strict about it. We have Flagellant next. Alright, so now we have Flagellant, and I feel like he would definitely be a shoplifter, but only so he could get tased and feel that pain. Like, they know that he just wants to be tased and, like, held on the ground and, like, beat or whatever. And so he's definitely going to be stealing, but I don't think it'd be, like, as horrible of a problem. I can't see him, doing a job, but maybe, if anything, he'd be security so he could inflict pain on people as well. Which sounds kind of weird, but I think that's what I'm going for him. I think he's like right here. Next we have Grave Robber, and I feel like this one is kind of in the name. I feel like she would definitely be fine taking things, but I feel like maybe she might also have a job as a cashier who doesn't care. After her husband passes away, leaving her with nothing, I feel like she would definitely shoplift at first, but maybe she might begrudgingly just take on a job to pay the bills and get those basic expenses out of the way. So yeah, she's down there. Alright, so next we have Hellion, and I definitely see her as security. I think she sees the store as like a clan of sorts. I do think if she were off duty and that she saw someone stealing, she would be like intervening in that way where she'd want answers, and she could definitely like chase someone down. I could definitely see her like chasing someone who's stealing down, even off duty. So yeah, I think I'll place her right there. Alright, so next we have Dismiss, and I think he would definitely be security, but he'd also be a shoplifter. He's the type to like grab snacks and eat whatever during his shift, even though he's not supposed to take inventory. And I feel like he might have only taken this job so he'd have access to like a gun or a taser while he's working. And I think like only having a taser is a major disappointment to him, but he still sticks with the job because he can just take whatever he wants while he's on shift. Alright, so moving on to Jester, I definitely think he's a shoplifter. He's the type to walk out of a store with a cart full of goods and no one really stops him because he's kind of just been talking to himself the whole time, and he probably thinks he paid, but like he didn't actually, and he kind of just walked out after doing like a little song and dance or something. I don't think he'd be security, and I don't think he'd be a cashier because I don't think he'd be like mentally stable enough to hold a job, and so yeah, I'll put him right there. All right, with Leper, Leper is definitely bystander intervention all the way. I feel like he has enough money where he doesn't need a job in any way. Maybe like a little bit security, like a little bit up here. But if he sees you stealing groceries, he's definitely the type to like pull you aside and attempt to pay for it or like understand why exactly you're in the situation you're in rather than just like going full on punishment mode. And yeah, also, just like a quick PSA, I guess. In my bio, there are going to be a few resources to help you find your nearest food pantry. I don't think it'll let me link anything, but like I'll put the names, and if you put them into Google, you should be able to find that resource. I would highly recommend either volunteering your time, spending your money there, or even utilizing the resources if you're in need. Those places need a lot of help right now. Yeah, just wanted to say that real quick. I felt like it was appropriate to bounce off of Leper with that. All right, moving on to Man at Arms. I definitely feel like he'd be security, but also a very big intervening bystander. I think like he sees the supermarket as a family, kind of similar to how Hellion sees it as a clan, and he wants to help out everyone on the team, but he also would be the first one to approach a customer with as open of a mind as possible and maybe give them that like disappointed dad stare if they did take anything. So I definitely feel comfortable placing him right over here. I think he's a perfect mix of both. Next, we have a cultist, and I definitely feel like he's a cashier that just doesn't care. I could definitely see him working at like 12 or 1 a.m. just trying to get his paycheck in so he could fund whatever he's researching. I think he definitely does take things on occasion, but it's nothing terrible because he's way too engrossed in whatever he's studying. Next, we have Plague Doctor, and she definitely does not care, and she absolutely would be taken from the store no matter what happens. She's just trying to get through medical school or whatever she's studying. I would also suspect that she may like lure customers into her car or van or whatever and operate on them because like she's kind of a tiny woman. I feel like it'd be really easy for her to trick someone. Anyways, that's kind of off topic. Yeah. All right, we have Bonnie, and I definitely see her as a shoplifter. I think that she'd be the type to steal everything, especially lighters, so she could like burn leaves on her way out or something. I don't think she feels much remorse, and I don't think she'd get a job. I think she's more just comfortable where she's at right now, and yeah, I don't know. I don't see her trying either security or becoming a cashier, so I'll put her in shoplifter. Finally, we have Vestal, and I thought about this a lot, and I feel like Vestal is right in the middle. She's she has a tendency to watch things happen, if you know what I mean, and I feel like she just observes everyone doing everything. And so I think she's like perfectly right in the center of our um four-way alignment chart here. Um yeah, I think I'm okay with this. I like the way this looks. I think I feel confident with where everyone's at. I think the only person who could go another way might be Crusader or Flage, because Flagellant could absolutely want to work as a cashier because that's painful in itself. And then for Crusader, I definitely feel like he maybe might have it in his heart to try to stop someone or like care a little bit outside of work, but I don't know. I think overall it's fine. Thank you for watching if you've made it this far. I think probably maybe 1% of people are going to make it this far. If you want to see a video, let me know. I'm always open to taking suggestions or requests. For what's coming up next, probably a Clash Royale video, unfortunately. I had an idea for that, as well as something that was requested off my Instagram, which is how to make friends when you feel like you have none. And I don't know why people think I'm the expert at making friends when I'm the one sitting alone in my room making a video about Darkest Dungeon 2 heroes, but you know what? It's fine. I will do that. I have gotten better at making friends. I'm sure you don't want to hear about that in this video though, so I will let you go. Take care. Bye.